So the source material for the film is a play from the 1950s by Arnold Wesker, where there was no such thing as toxic masculinity. There was just masculinity or being. So that was interesting to me to kind of take that, apply it, see what it looks like right now. I think kitchens are, from having had personal experience in them and from having had the chance of seeing them as an observer, a lot of those notions that you talk about, which I think make the world a better place and there's more room for understanding, do not apply in a place like a kitchen. A kitchen is a cased system. It's a very strict cased system where boundaries and hierarchies are very clear and are not stepped over. And that is the way they work. That is the way they are. So as much as it would be untrue to portray a kitchen where all the males are very understanding and careful of each other, and that just doesn't, it's not the case. That's not how the cookie crumbles in those places.
Yo quiero retomar la pregunta de la
I'd like to take up the earlier question there because, yes, it was a topic, particularly for me. I'm a non-binary person. I've been transitioning. 5 years ago I started transitioning, and this is the first male figure also for me within my transition, and that was a topic for me. And I've been asking me for a while already what kind of figures I've had to interpret and trying to think about that. I have this beautiful face, but I've also been cast very often as the assassins or villains, simply because of the energy that I project. And for the very first time, I focused on building a male, Pedro, who ends up being a total failure, a catastrophe, simply because he cannot simply stop and limit himself to being sad, for example, then having to go home and then doing his work in the kitchen. We do witness that in the film when he's completely devastated, that he sees that Julia has left and that he's just discovered that Julia already has a child from an earlier marriage. And the kitchen goes on, despite the emotions that Pedro is going through. And in many cases, I really asked myself whether men under these very toxic and violent premises don't have any other possible destiny than a tragic destiny. I always wanted to shoot a film that speaks to what happens after crossing the border. There are many films in Mexico, it's almost a genre, which is the migrant film. But then there are very few that speak about what happens on the other side. Either the dream comes true or it doesn't. And that was, in my view, an interesting starting point. And it was really beautiful meeting all of these people, talking to them about their dreams. And there's always a cost attached to this dream that they wish to fulfill.
For me, I really go by the director. Like, I learned that pretty early. I had some bad experiences as an actor. And then I think it was probably after the first time I worked with David Fincher that I was like, oh, the director, like, follow the director. And so I really kind of make my choices based on the filmmaker and who I want to work with because, at the end of the day, it's all them. So that's really how I make my choices.
Pues fue impresionante.
It was very impressive. First of all, because I always wanted to work or hoped to work with Alonso. And then I met this wonderful team. And then I read the script and the storyline.
y vi ahí una oportunidad
And I saw an opportunity
para
therein
retratar la soledad
to
del migrante.
show and depict the solitude and isolation of immigrants.
Me pongo así porque
And I'm getting very emotional because
años salió de su país.
my mother actually years ago left her country and she went to a country where she didn't speak the language.
Y para mí eso es
And to
la
me,
soledad pura, no
that
poder
is
compartir tu
pure
cultura, no poder compartir
isolation
esas
and
palabras.
solitude, not to be able to share
Y entonces
what is
aprendí a
happening in words.
a verlo con ternura también.
And
O sea, la
but also
violencia
looking at
está
it
por
with a
hecho,
certain
no por dejar
tenderness,
atrás
because when you
todo lo que amas,
leave behind
seguir un
everything that you
sueño,
love in order to pursue a dream,
creo que queda
I believe that
esta ternura,
this
que me hizo
tenderness
mirar a estos
remains.
personajes que son personas
And that is how I
con
looked at these
muchas heridas,
figures.
que también tienen
People who
muchos
are
sueños
damaged,
y
who
no
have
habría
been
por qué
hurt,
quitarle
but,
a las personas la posibilidad de soñar.
but yet they keep on dreaming in a
Para mí
way,
este acercamiento
despite all of that.
fue-
And therefore,
Fue todo lo
to me, that was really so special to be able to do this. Thank you very much.